Well, hello there, comics fans, and welcome to yet another review video. So, apparently, Marvel Comics was inspired by what DC Comics did like 20 years ago, and they published a comic book called Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood, issue 1. So, what DC Comics did at the end of the 1990s and the beginning of the early odds was that they gathered the all-star talent of the comic book industry back then, and they told them, both writers and the artists, all right, you've got 8 issues, write or draw a comic book, a short story about Batman, a Batman related short story. And it will all be in black and white, and we will include it in the collection of short stories that will be coming out monthly or once a while. So comic book issues like that started coming out, and they became instantly extremely popular, then got collected into trade paperbacks, and as I said, more recently it got collected into an omnibus edition. No, well, what it meant was that people who had never had the chance of writing or drawing Batman stories got, their chance then. And on the other hand, there were also people who had been quite established as not only comic book writers but Batman writers and Batman artists. So that the omnibus that just came out is like, I think, 800 pages long, and it's full of different stories, short stories about Batman from all sorts of writers, including such awesome talent as Paul Dini, Bruce Timm. I believe that there was even Grant Morrison, there was Neil Gaiman, artists like Simon Beasley, my favorite, the Kuberts, and so on and so forth. I believe that even Mobius did one short story as far as his artwork goes. So it was really quite popular. And it's very good that you don't really need to be a Batman fan necessarily or have huge knowledge about Batman to like these stories, because it's just, one and done stories. So Marvel Comics did it now with Wolverine. So it's basically 3 short stories per an issue, written by different people, drawn by different artists, and the introduction to it goes: Logan, Patch, Weapon X, Wolverine, the mysterious mutant, has gone by many names and lived many different lives. Many tales have been told of his exploits, many more remain unsung. These are some of those untold tales. Some of his bloodiest battles from across the ages, raw and exposed for the first time. This is Wolverine, Black, White, and Blood. Now, the blood in this case is that they do not only use black and white, but they only use red here and there, which I think in the case of Wolverine is quite a good idea, because if written properly, he is a ferocious beast, right? He is a berserker. He was made a berserker, a wild, ferocious mutant by the Weapon X program, right? So I think this is a good idea, and it does apply to many comic books, or to many comic book superheroes. Many comic book superheroes would prosper, really, by being included in such collections. And Wolverine is obviously one of them. So the first issue contains short stories called The Beast Within Them, written by Jerry Dugan and drawn by Adam Kubert. The second one is called I Shall Be a Wolf, written by Matthew Rosenberg and drawn by Joshua Cassara. And the third one was both written and drawn and colored, if you count the red, by Declan Shelby. I don't know him or her. I think it's a man. I know Jerry Dugan, I know Matthew Rosenberg, although I haven't read much from them. But the first story, called The Beast Within Them, is basically a story from when Wolverine was still a part of the Weapon X program at the very beginning, when they were transforming him into Wolverine. And in this short story, they let him out in a forest after they made him defeat the wolves and the bears in the original Weapon X story. And in this one, well, after the realization that he is an unbeatable mutant, and a killing machine, they decided to let him fight. I think that's Wendigo. Looks like Wendigo. By the way, sorry for not showing you any single issues here, because I'm from the Czech Republic. I don't have any comic book stores near me that I could get my physical copies in, so I have to read it digitally. And so he fights the Wendigo in this issue. It's, the story is very simple, but you don't need to have stories of the Grant Morrison type, like cosmic, awesome stories and such, when you are reading one and done short stories about Wolverine, and you just want to take a rest for a bit and relax and enjoy some escapist reading. So the first story, written by Jerry Dugan, illustrated by Adam Kubert, is an action-packed, a couple of pages fight between Wolverine and Wendigo, and I quite enjoyed it. I really didn't need anything else at the moment. The second story is Wolverine being apprehended by Hydra agents, and it tells a story from, I would say, near to the beginning of Wolverine's career. It involves Nick Fury, the original Nick Fury, if you know what I mean, not the modern one. And basically him and Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. fucking over with the Hydra agents. And that's, I like it very much. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say that the usage of the red is quite fantastic here. I like the places where they used the red. They use the red color on very appropriate spots in the short story. That it draws your eyes, it underlines and emphasizes the pages, but at the same time you still see that this is a black and white comic book. And this particular story, the second story, is sort of I would say a noir sort of story, and the red color only helps it. So Matthew Rosenberg, Joshua Cassara, I Shall Be a Wolf. It's good. Why not? And the third story, from the looks of Wolverine and his jacket, leather jacket with the X on, I would say that I would place it in the times of, let's say, a new X-Men / the Astonishing X-Men. And it's Wolverine killing a bunch of men in a cabin and saving a baby. There is more to the story, but as I said, I'm not going to spoil much here. Again, the use of the red I liked very much. So yeah, it wasn't, these stories are definitely not Eisner Award winning stories, but you do not expect this from short stories like that in a compilation of the type of Batman Black and White that came out a long time ago. All you expect from a comic book like that is a couple of minutes of escapism, relaxation, and Wolverine, a typical Wolverine, Logan, Weapon X, as he has been for a long time. And I do have to admit that in this particular issue, all the three short stories really depicted the several aspects of Wolverine that are, his and him, and have always been a part of Wolverine. So I'm quite content with the first issue of Wolverine Black, White and Blood. I have enjoyed it, and if I had a comic book store near me, I would buy the physical issue, because not only the stories were okay, but more so the art was great. I enjoyed the artwork in all of these three short stories very much. I have to admit that the artwork was better than the stories themselves, but as I said, it's not that easy to write comic book short stories. But what troubles me is the advertisement for the next issue. From two-thirds, really. It troubles me. From two-thirds, because there are going to be 3 short stories in the next issue, and the middle one is going to be written by Chris Claremont, who is obviously one of the best comic book writers of all time, and most certainly the X-Men and Wolverine writer. Period. The X-Men and Wolverine writer. Period. Or at least my favorite. Chris Claremont. Come on. Everybody knows Chris Claremont. And the artwork is going to be done by Salvador Larroca. So, once again, yes please. So they could just throw out and get rid of the 2 other short stories that are going to be added into the collection. The first one is going to be written by Vita Ayala. Fuck's sake. And the third one by Saladin Ahmed. I know you have to tip the scales. You need a god and then you need pieces of shit. So, alright, fine. I'm going to read the next issue, obviously, but my prediction is I'm going to love the short story written by Chris Claremont. I'm going to praise it, I'm going to cherish it, and the other 2 are going to make me cringe like a bub. Alright, that's just my prediction. You can, lynch me for it if you want. So what do you think, my friends? Did you enjoy Wolverine Black, White and Blood issue 1? I didn't really mind that it was a rip-off of Batman Black and White. DC Comics don't have a patent for, this kind of storytelling. Did you enjoy it? I'm looking forward to the second issue with Chris Claremont and Salvador Larroca. And what about the other Wolverine stories? What are your favorite X-Men or Wolverine comic books? Are you a Wolverine fan? Such as myself. Right, so let me know in the comments down below. That will be all. See you soon. Bye.